Hey guys, this is Chesney Hawkes here. You are watching My Hammers 11 with the one and only Russ.
Hi everybody, Russ from the West Ham Network. Hope you are all safe and well. If you're new and give it a like, give it a comment, give it a share, give it a bloody good subscribe. Chesney's back. Chesney's back. Not just Chesney, we have comedian, actor, TikToker, YouTuber, Instagrammy person, and more importantly, West Ham fan, Mark Simmons. How are you doing, Mark, man?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. I didn't know Chesney Hawk was a West Ham fan. That's
cool. Big West Ham fan. Big West Ham fan. Yeah. He goes when he lives in LA. And when he comes over, he was there. Where did I literally? Where did it sounds like the worst name drop in the world? When did I bump into him? It must have been like one of the European games. Because where my box is at the top of the stadium, literally right at the top, that big white box. I have to walk all the way down, and that tends to be used for like sort of press people, but also like get some guests who aren't like front top tier. No disrespect, Ches, I love you, and he was there, and so we sort of bumped into each other. It's one of those things. Just like probably you've spoken to lots of people online and over the last 18 months. You never actually met anyone face to face, so it's a bit weird. But yeah, Ches is a big West Ham fan. Big West Ham fan, man. How are you, more likely?
What's that?
Yeah, how are you, man? You good?
Oh, great. Yeah. Well, sort of, it's the time of year where we're sort of building up to Edinburgh for the festival, and it's just quite stressful because you're writing a brand new show, and then you're previewing it, trying to get it into good shape before you get up there. So I'm just gigging every night at the moment, but it's good. It's all falling into shape. I'm happy, and I've still got like 4 or 5 previews left, so that's good. Yeah, normally I'm sort of scraping to get enough material for the full show, but because of COVID, I've had sort of 3 years, so I've got too much stuff now. It's like the opposite trouble. So I'm not complaining.
And obviously, I've been listening to lots of like podcasts, like yourself, like your podcast, jokes with Mark, as well as various others, like Rob. Yeah, I do. Of course, I do. Oh, wow. I listen to all the stuff. As I said, I remember I first saw you. I think it was Mock the Week, and I was like, your type of comedy is a comedy I really enjoy. That sort of like fast, I find it fascinating, that type of comedy, because it's where some people are more like not storytellers, but it takes time to develop, and it's like dun, 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 I love it. But obviously. Yeah, like your podcast, and I was listening to Rob Brydon's one the other day, and obviously Milton Jones was on there, and he was saying how he would, like, he retrofits all his jokes, so he will know the punchline and then work his way back. Is that what you do? How do you write your jokes?
That is like, that's sort of a traditional way of doing it, and I do sometimes do it like that, but I don't always. I've got a weird. I haven't really got a set way of doing it. I walk about, sit about, talk to people, and I spot wordplay.
Yeah.
And then I write it in my phone. And once I've got sort of 10 pieces, I'll sit down and just try and craft it. So that's a bit more like how Milton does it, I think, because you get the wordplay and you work out how to put it together.
Yeah.
But I quite often, I like to, how do I explain it? Like if something happens, and I think that's an interesting thing. I like the setup. I've got the setup, and then I'll try and make a twist.
Yeah.
So that's like the opposite. So I'm starting at the beginning, and then how can I twist it to make the joke?
Getcha. Yeah.
So I kind of do both ways.
Yeah. That's all right. It's like you come either direction, but you end up in the middle. That's the thing. And that's the thing. And so for something like, obviously, Edinburgh, you got Fringe, and obviously, pretty much that's August out of the way for you guys. How many shows are you doing in total in Edinburgh?
So I'm doing 6th till the 27th.
Yeah.
So that's
17.
Is it 17?
No, 6 to 27. No, it's 21, isn't it? 6 to 27. Yeah.
Oh God. Cut this bit.
Exactly. Yeah.
I've got maths jokes as well in my set. People assume I'm good at maths, but I'm really not. I could. Do you want to hear one of my maths jokes? It'll be. this is a joke that doesn't really work, but technically it makes sense. But you kind of got to, how were you really good at maths at school? I think you just proven that. Oh, you were.
I was actually quite good at maths. I think because I got an A star.
Did you? Here we go. So you're like this then. This is. I say this is sort of a GCSE to A level joke.
Nice.
So my friend had a go at me for being a maths geek, which is weird because normally he's nice as 3.14159.
See, I reckon about 10% of our audience will laugh at it.
Yeah. The rest will be going, what is he on about?
What is he on about? Jesus.
When I do it live, you get a lot of this. What was that one? And then they explain it, and they're like,
oh, and then afterwards, like a couple of hours later, it's sort of, that's really clever. Yeah, it's quite clever.
I like it, so I do it. So
yeah, exactly. Is it like? I mean, it must be such. Because stand-up comedy itself is such a, and we'll talk about West End in a minute, but I'm fascinated about stand-up comedy because it's one of those arts where literally you are just on your own with a microphone, and that's it. It's not like it's not like you're like an actor and you've got a whole cast of people. You can. It's just, if you bomb, you'll bomb. It must be such a pressure every night. Do you shit yourself every night, basically?
No. I used to. But I think I was talking to someone about this the other day because when you start comedy, and this is for years, you don't really know if you're any good at it because you get so many different responses each night.
Yeah.
And so my thing went then, and that broke me game. So this one, I'm not a professional footballer. I'm too distracted. I'm going to put something in the crowd, and I'm not athletically gifted. Other than that. Comedy.
Comedy.
This is what happens in my shows, though. I something will happen in the room. I'll go to it, and I have no idea where I was or what I was doing. But I quite like that. It's kind of nice, sort of. I like that relaxed. It's part of it. But like, there we go. This moves me back onto the point I was trying to make. Back in the old days, you stick to your script, and you're nervous, and you don't want to deviate. And then when you have a bad gig, you think, I'm terrible at comedy. And then the next day you have a great gig and you think you're the best in the world. It's crazy. But I think once you get to a certain level, once you know you're good at it, when you bomb, it's not as big a deal. Yeah. I don't think, because I actually kind of find it sort of sadistically funny. Like I touch wood, I rarely bomb. But if I do, there's something innately funny, and only comedians will know what this is like, where you're saying words in an order with the same time and delivery. You always say them, and they normally ignite a laugh. And for whatever reason, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
That's funny. It's a weird thing. And then I start giggling, and the audience is like, why is this guy giggling? Because he's dying on his ass. But it's something about it. But that actually tends to help, because the audience, if you're relaxed enough to be sort of giggling in this situation, I think the worst thing when you're dying is when you're like, you start talking faster, you start sweating, and the audience can see you're not having a good time, and that makes it worse. Yeah. But I think if you can be relaxed in the environment, you can save a gig sometimes like that.
I know exactly what you mean. It's like when you're going. It's like if I'm going to see a show or something like that, or my daughter, she does like musical theatre and stuff like that. And sometimes when they f up or they forget their lines, I find it really funny. And like I just find it funny because I know, as you said, someone like, and you get that on a going, I don't know, West End, and someone drops a line, they start giggling like the actors, because they know it's like they saying the same lines every night, and it's like brilliant. No, I love it.
You know what? I did a double act one year in Edinburgh with Sean Walsh. Yeah. And we were really good friends. And I'd never been on stage with anyone else before. And when we had a bad gig, or we didn't really have many bad gigs, but we'd have some lines that didn't work at times. It was so much more enjoyable experiencing that death of a line with your mate, because you just laugh at each other, and I don't know, it's a much nicer experience than being up there on your own and dying.
Yeah, no, I totally get that. It makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense.
Are similar to that.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
They're friends, aren't they, on stage?
Yeah, and they probably, and I think I mean, obviously we've got a few big West Ham fans. We've got there's Tom who plays Harry Potter, not Harry Potter, he plays Ron Weasley in the West End show. Massive West Ham fan, yeah. And they take the mickey out of each other all the time. They try and prank each other during the shows, and that just keeps the camaraderie going and stuff like that, doesn't it? No, I totally get that.
That character's my third most regular heckle I get.
Is it?
Basically, I get heckled so many different things, and it's always, if it's anyone ginger, I get the heckle. That doesn't happen with anyone else, I don't think. But with ginger hair, there's that. Can you guess the others?
Ed Sheeran.
That's number one. I get that in the street. People shout that at me in the street. Someone has decided to drive along, wind down his window as he's going. So he spotted me, and he's had time to wind down his window and shout, "Oi, Ed Sheeran," and then wind it back up. Who does that to a stranger? It's the weirdest thing.
But particularly in the summer, with such big, the temperature being so hot, you want to keep the windows shut for air conditioning purposes.
I know.
So he's taken. That's a real hit. So Ed Sheeran, Prince Harry.
Yeah, Prince Harry.
Is it?
One. Yeah. But I tell you what, that's not the number two. Isn't you can tell me I've ranked them. Number two isn't ginger actually, and this one it doesn't really make any sense to me. But it happens so much. There must be something in it, and I don't know whether it's when I'm on stage I'm at a slightly different angle, so it makes me look like this person. I don't know. Can you guess?
No idea at all now.
That's Jay from the Inbetweeners.
Oh I think he must be head back and it's the hairline.
I don't know, yeah.
Which is ironic, like the Ed Sheeran thing and Bus Wankers, isn't it? Is a thing, yeah.
Yeah, it's the same, yeah.
No, yeah, it's what I just think. Yeah, I used to always get someone constantly says that I look like. Oh, I can't remember the guy's name. He was a famous actor, comedy actor in the 70s and 80s. And they said I look like him. It's going to annoy me now. Someone's going to Rory. I can't remember.
Rory Bremner.
Yes. Not. Yeah. Rory. Like the big lad. Yeah. Yeah. No, not Rory Bremner. What's his name? Oh, it's going to really annoy me now. Oh,
I think it's all over.
No.
He had a beard like yours.
Rory Kinnear. No, Rory. Is it Rory? Rory Kinnear? No, that's not Rory Kinnear. It's his dad in it. But anyway, yeah, I suppose he looks a little bit like Rory Kinnear, but he's not famous. He's an old. He's
TikTok and things. Like people are very keen to tell you what you look like. like it's so often, and they don't think to look through the comments to say, "Oh, that's been covered." I'll get Ed Sheeran. Sebastian Vettel, I get as well now.
I get that. Yeah, I can get that. Yeah, I used to get Jeremy.
The one I look most like.
What's that?
Sebastian Vettel.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
No, I think you do, man. I think that I can see that. It's the hair as well because he's got slightly longer hair now.
Yeah.
Vettel has. I used to always get Jeremy Spate from the airport. But I used to wear the glass. I do wear glasses. I don't have to wear them for this, but I wear glasses. Jeremy Spates, yeah.
Well, I don't remember exactly what he looks like. But yeah.
No, but yeah. But apparently I looked like him at the time. But yeah, so there we go. Yeah, and I love the fact you said that's been covered off. No, I won't say Ed Sheeran. But then,
and they find it so funny as well. Like laughter. It's like, God. Anyway, West Ham, how are we doing? So West Ham. So well, hopefully, this by the time that this go out sort of during the week, West Ham would have signed some more players, which would be nice. Maybe a striker, maybe Gianluca Scamacca, who'll be quite good. But in terms of him, I don't know much about him.
He's 6 foot. Yeah, he looks good. He's 6'5". He's a big lad. He's mobile. Him and
Antonio up front will be quite.
Or maybe they're
so strong.
He's beast, isn't he? I think both of them will be absolute beast modes. Maybe they'll move Antonio maybe to the wing maybe because he drifts out all the. I don't know, but it's going to be. I think this next week's going to be quite exciting. I hope for West Ham. Because we need some bodies. We need some bodies in the team, and but we'll see what happens.
read. I haven't been able to watch any of the friendlies because I've just been on the road all the time. But I was reading we picked up injuries in friendlies as well.
Yeah, I mean, Agad got a knock at the Rangers game. They don't know when he's going to be back for. Some people say he'll be back for the Man City game. Some people say, which is typical West Ham, really, isn't it? But yeah, and people are looking at the friendlies and going, "Oh, you know, we're doing shit," and da da da. We've only lost one game in the friendlies for 2 years, in 2 seasons. And Avram Grant won all his games in the pre-season, and look what happened there. So
the thing with pre-season is, I mean, I'm no expert, but surely he's just experimenting.
Yeah.
With what to do, so you can't judge it.
No, you're right. He's getting his legs. I mean, the lads are getting their legs warm, so it's stretching their legs, isn't it? I don't know the terminology. Yeah,
I don't think anyone's ever said that before.
I don't know. Stretching their legs, maybe. But no, yeah, it's. I think the trouble is with pre-seasons is people take too much into it, and I mean, I think the famous 85-86 season, we didn't win any pre-season games, and we finished our best season ever. You know, so
That was the year I was born. There's a sign.
was it? That was There we go. I was 4. My maths is coming into play again. 5. Yeah. In 86, I was 5 in 86. Actually, no, I'd have been 4 because I'm in September. So, yeah, it would have been 86, 87. Anyway, I'm getting better at the old maths now. It's like, because, I mean, I do my... It's warming up. The old brain matter is warming up. It takes time.
Another maths joke.
Go on, then.
You want? The other day, my girlfriend said I was average. Well, that's mean.
Very good.
There you go. Do people do jokes on this normally?
Not usually. I mean,
if I don't know something about football, I'll do a joke just to fill the gap.
Yeah, just do a joke in between just to stop the silence. Do you, as a comedian, and I know everyone, do you always are you that when you go out for a drink or when you do have a spare night to yourself, do people always turn to you as the source of entertainment?
When you meet new people,
yeah.
Like I was at a festival yesterday. What was that? Tramlines Festival in Midfield. Whenever you do a festival, so you drive up, the security guy to let you in the car park, he says, what are you doing here? I say, I'm a comedian. Tell me a joke. Okay. Then you go along, you go to accreditation, you go to the thing where you get your bands and you say, what are you here for? Oh, the comedy tent. Are you a comedian? Tell us a joke. And then the guy that drives you across the tent, he says, oh, what are you doing today? Oh, comedy. Tell us a joke. But it's always awkward because there's so much pressure on that person to get the joke, especially with sort of thinkers. So my sort of get out of jail free card is I was on the best jokes of the Fringe list a few times in Edinburgh.
Yeah.
So I preempt it by saying this was voted. So if they don't laugh or they don't think it's good, it's been voted for. Like
it's been accredited, yeah.
Yeah, so they always go with it. But before, quite often you get people going, I hope it's better than that on stage. But I need before I go on to 1,000 people. Thanks, mate.
It's like the greatest hits. It's like now the sort of now compilations. You have sort of a couple up your sleeve. Now I get No, I can totally understand that. Yeah, it must be a frustration as well. It's like you're just gonna go and do a gig, and as she said, gonna tell God knows how many jokes. How many jokes do you tell on average? Do you ever worked it out?
In my tour show, I don't know, 300 probably.
Fucking hell.
Maybe just depends really, because I try and do some bits in between the jokes. So I don't just go joke.
Bang, 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 yeah.
I play around with structure and things like that. Little fun bits that take a bit longer. So maybe it's slightly less than that.
Jesus, that's a lot, mate. That's a lot.
Yeah.
Anyway, West Ham. Let's talk West Ham. Why are you a West Ham fan, Mark?
Why am I? I was thinking about it because I was coming on, and there's a few reasons. So my dad and my brother are West Ham fans, and my brother's a bit older than me, and they would go to games. But when I was young, I wasn't into football at all, so it didn't really interest me. I can't really remember the order of everything, but also my nan, my dad's mum, supported Man United, and that was around the time when they were winning everything. So that was quite a draw because I'm a little kid. I don't like football really, and Man United win everything, and West Ham don't. So it's like, who am I going to support?
Yeah.
And then they took me to a game, and that game moved me that way because it was, the whole experience was amazing to me.
Yeah.
Like Upton Park, it was Norwich, and it was amazing. I don't know if you remember it. You probably won't. But we were 2-0 down, and then in the last 10 minutes, Tony Cottee scored 2 goals to get a draw, and I've never experienced excitement like it. It was just elation, and that I was hooked then
Yeah.
to watching live football. And then I think this is the order this happened. I can't 100% remember, but I went to the Martin Allen Soccer School,
Yeah.
but I was like 9, I guess.
Yeah.
And Les Seeley was doing like a meet and greet thing that he got. He probably just roped him in like this. I don't expect Les Seeley.
Of course he would have. Yeah. Yeah.
And we'd been to Upton Park for a tour the day before, so I got a West Ham hat. So I was wearing that, and when I went up, Les Seeley said, "You're a Hammer." I was like, instinctively, I went, "Yes," and that I knew in that moment I was a West Ham fan. That was the moment. I don't know what that meant, but I felt proud, because there weren't that many West Ham supporters on the thing, and I felt like, Les Seeley thinks I'm cool. and he used to play for Man United as well, so that meant even more probably in that sort of.
Yeah.
So that was it. That was the moment. Les Seeley.
I love it. I love it. We need to. We know his son Joe quite well, so I'll text him and say you're the reason. Your dad was the reason for all that shame, the many years to come of hurt. But thank you, Les. I love the fact that it was almost like a knee-jerk react, like a subconscious reaction. Yes.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I was like, that's it. I'm in. The better for worse.
For better for more worse than better.
The worse for better.
Yeah, for better now, and hopefully a lot better to come. And as you said, I mean, it's funny, there's lots of we've interviewed hundreds of people, and it is very rarely, apart from maybe the more like foreign-based fans, where they've picked West Ham because I remember interviewing a guy from Chicago, and he picked West Ham because they were a bit like the Cubs; they'd won fuck all, and that's why. So he sort of that's why he did it. But most of it is like a family thing, and as you said, it's that sort of family community. I was the same. My mum and my dad, both sides, are West Ham fans, so I didn't really have a chance. My daughter hasn't got a chance.
Yeah. Like my nephews are West Ham fans.
Yeah.
Weirdly, my sister-in-law, she's from Canada, and her whole family support West Ham. They're all. I don't. Yes.
Well, funny enough, we've just lost actually a massive West Ham part of the West Ham community called Peach, and he was from Toronto, so massive West Ham fan. I think a lot of West Ham. It seems just from his family that his dad was born in Forest Gate or something like that, and then moved to Canada in the 70s. And I think a lot of people from moved across, emigrated, and so there is a big West Ham. We've got a massive West Ham American Hammers community as well. Like Chesney's part of it, but a lot of people all over the place. Anywhere, anytime you're in the US, and there'll be a West Ham bar somewhere nearby. It's always good to check them boys out. But it's a rite of passage, I think, being a West Ham fan. I think you could have been Man United and won everything with your nan. But I don't
even know why she supported Man United. It made no sense. I never asked her, but no one else. She was the only one. It was weird. And then the other side, my mum's dad, they were Crystal Palace.
Yeah.
So that wasn't ever an issue. There's no chance that was happening.
No chance at all. It may have been. Your nan may have been sort of during the 60s and maybe Bobby Charlton and George Best, or in the 70s. That's usually how it. A lot of fans, particularly in the 60s, were became West Ham fans because of Bobby Moore and stuff like that and stuff like. It must be difficult for you as well. Obviously, gigging all the time, not really getting to see any games, really, isn't it? Because you're travelling all the time.
Well, So up until I left uni, I was really in it.
Yeah.
And then when I left uni, I started a full-time job. But I also started comedy. So I'd be working all day and I'd be gigging in the evening, coming back and just repeat all the time. and that's the same. And weekends were always sort of gigging away. So I did lose. I really think you. I don't think you can really invest in a team unless you can see them playing. Because this last year, I've moved. I'm a stone throw away from the stadium now.
Yeah.
And like I'm so much more in it now because even just being there, because when you're watching on TV, you're following the ball, but being able to see everything, how the team are playing together is just so much better when you're in there. So yes, I'm loving it at the moment. I'm really looking forward to next year. I can't wait.
No, I am as well. I mean, it's I was fortunate during lockdown that I was still there because they were still playing the music. Still, despite the fact there was no bugger there apart from journalists, they still played all the music played, and they wanted everything done and all the videos and So I was fortunate, and I think people really sort of appreciated seeing live football. It'd be like live comedy as well. It's like you obviously change the way you had to work to. The podcasts more and interviews and live Zoom shows and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and that's the same as football. And it's I think people really appreciate it. It just coincided last season with another good season and fans back in the stadium and
that helped because with Europe we had a lot of Sunday games.
Yes,
I could get to them because on a Saturday it's rare I'd be able to unless I'm gigging in London.
Yeah.
So fingers crossed.
That's all right. You're right. Fingers crossed for the next two. Yeah, by the end of April, we've still got the double header for the Conference League. So yeah, hopefully we'll still have a lot of Sundays for you. You're probably one of the only benefits from a Sunday game, to be honest.
Yeah, it's very nice of the boys to throw a few games towards the end of the season just to.
For yourself and for big Tom Davis and all those it's nice. It's nice of them. Didn't think about Budden and his love of a roast dinner. That's out the window now. You can't have a roast on a Saturday. I'm not an animal. But yeah, because I cook the fucker as well. So yeah, Mrs. Budden's not happy. I said she's got another season of Sundays. Yeah. But yeah, it can't be helped. That's the trouble. I think Paul Merson said it best when he said only shit teams play on Saturdays, and that's sort of true. I take that. Well done, Merce. Yeah, I take that. And it's obviously European football and stuff like that. I mean, you're in this sort of same age bracket as me, roughly, and it's the first time I've seen us play consistently in Europe, or for a whole season, rather than the odd game in the Intertoto Cup or whatever. It was special last season. I found it really special, the European games and the nights, and you can see why the older generation was so excited about European football, because it was just felt differently. It just felt really different.
That Sevilla game was like that's the best thing I've ever seen. Been to. It was just electric. I can't explain it. It's like it was just amazing. I was front row as well, randomly. And like right by those fire things are hot.
They are, aren't they? And there was it was the other game. I think it was the Frankfurt game. Well, it might have been the second and the first Lyon game as well. One of them, the one in the middle, was definitely on fire. Like it set itself on fire. Yeah, it's because the same bloke who does the fire does the bubbles.
Oh, really?
So hopefully he doesn't mix the two. Flaming bubbles like throughout the stadium, but I know what you mean. It was really special. It was a really special night, and hopefully some more specials.
That goal, when it was just everything, with the whole moment of everything that it meant was with Ukraine, and it was just you couldn't write it, could you?
No, it's something which just adds. It's like a tapestry of West Ham history. You've got things like that. You've got obviously Yarmouth scored the goal against Villa as well. You had the season before we had David Martin and Chelsea, or season before that rather. And all these sort of things. Just give us a little bit of modern history, because we've always had the older history. We've had the boys as 86 and the 65 team and the 1980. Our generation and later haven't had that sort of
the Intertoto Cup. That's all we had.
Of course, the Intertoto Cup. God bless it. God bless it. Where three teams win. Such a West Ham thing. We can barely win the.
They don't have that up on the stadium,
no, just like round like the Arsenal like thing. Well, I think it got to a point where I think they were thinking about maybe put the Betway Cup victories in there, but only us would would design a competition when we've only won it twice, and this year we're not even having it in London Stadium because we're having it. I think it's away to RC Lens or something like that next week no, this week. Shit, and yes, it's Saturday.
Yeah.
So better wake up. God bless it. Yeah, well, they did win it last year. I was hopeful. I was hopeful of more silverware, but it didn't work last year. In terms of West Ham, so who do you normally go with? Who's your usual gang you go with?
So I mean, this year, because it was a lot of last minute, I'd go on my own, and I'd pick up the resale ticket.
Yeah.
But I know people that are there, so
yeah.
So some of the games, my brother was there, and his kids, and they've got a season ticket this year as well, which is cool. And then I've got some other mates, like a few comedian friends that are there in the stadium. But yeah, so this is like last year was the first year I've really got back going again.
Yeah.
So yeah, but I like it. I don't think it matters if you. I'm someone that can go to cinema on my own, and I prefer that. Like I really like that sort of that experience. But people think I'm weird in that.
No, I get that. I get that totally.
But with going to West Ham, you're there with everyone who's you're in the same mindset. It's almost like going with mates because that's something you've all got in common.
Yeah, as Mark Noble said, it's 60,000 in the family, or whatever he said last game. Yeah, it's very true. I'm similar to you, just making sure I'm not in earshot of Mrs. Budden or the daughter. My old job, I used to do a lot of travelling. I used to love it. I mean, you do, it's part of your job, but but it's like I used to, particularly like to the States or whatever, because I knew exactly what was in my bag. I knew I had it down to a fine art. And so much so that when we went on holiday, I'd get really frustrated because there'll be a bottle of water in Flo's bag or cocaine falling out of Joe's bag. Just the standard things. I'm like, come on, love. We're going away. But I know what you mean about sort of sitting in a cinema on your own. It's a bit, I get that.
Yeah, I love it. But I think as a comic, you need to be able to enjoy time on your own. You wouldn't be able to do it, I don't think, if you're someone that needs to be around people all the time.
Yeah, that makes sense. I suppose, and also, I mean, it's also time for you to decompress a little bit as well, isn't it? Because it's quite, although it's, as you said, don't shoot yourself anymore, but it's still quite an intense thing what you do each week, each night, and sort of the come down afterwards and relaxing. And, you sort of take to TikTok now and do sort of lives, isn't it? Just to sort of talk to people there.
Yeah, that's nice. That's the thing with it. It's not just the doing the shows, because the trouble with what I do is like there's no switch off.
Yeah.
Because every year I have to write a new show. So you can't turn your brain off from thinking about jokes. Like if you have a job you're doing at work, you can go home and not do that job.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm always thinking of jokes. You have to. It's part of the thing. So going to the cinema, going to watch football, that is a moment where I don't have to be thinking about that. I can just, zoom in on what's happening. Yeah. I really like it.
Yeah, no, it makes perfect sense. You're right. 5 o'clock, I know at work. That's it. Done. I put my laptop down. Yeah. And I suppose some people, my wife's very different. She's literally, she can't switch off. She's one of these people who just can't switch off. But for me, 5 o'clock, that's it. I'm done. Yeah. Particularly when you're working from home or not in the office, it's a bit difficult because you've got to travel back. But still, done. That's it. I can go and start the cooking or be a dad or whatever. Terribly exciting stuff. Anyway, so everyone we've had on the channel, apart from Harry Redknapp, Ian Bishop, and Nigel Reo-Coker randomly.
Right.
Don't know why. Have come on and picked an 11, a Hammers 11. So the idea, Harry ended up talking about Bobby Ferguson, and
didn't get round to it.
Harry didn't get round to it.
Right.
Bish is one of these. He's such a lovely man. He didn't want to offend anyone by not picking them. I was like, Bish, come on, you give a shit, but he did. And Nigel wanted the fans to pick the best players or something like that. It was like, That's a bit of a cop-out, really, Nigel, isn't it? But the idea is we put together an 11 of the players that you have seen play, like West Ham players you've seen play. So not necessarily the best 11, because, we'd all pick, probably put Bobby Moore in there, but we never saw Bobby Moore play. So the idea is it's a generational thing. So, your brother may have a different reference points because he's got a few more years down, under his belt, really. So we try and keep it. I mean, we can do whatever format, 4-4-2, whatever's usually easier, but it's up to you, man. And we try and do one player at a time. We'll go through it, and that type of thing. So we'll start with in goal, because I know you've been deliberating about this. It's taken up a lot of your time.
I find this sort of thing really stressful. Like I did like a Desert Island Disc sort of thing for a podcast. I just find it so stressful because I really want it to be the best. But you should throw me then, because I've done 4-4-2 because I thought that was the rule. But
we can do whatever you want.
4-3-3 would probably be better for me.
We do 4-3-3.
Oh, it's so annoying. Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
Goalkeeper.
Yeah, starting goal.
So I was a goalkeeper. That was the position I played. So this team I've got here, I've actually got two teams. I got a bit carried away. But I'll tell you quickly the last one later. But this is going to be a winning team.
Nice.
Okay?
Winning.
So goalkeeper goes against that already, I think. Because I'll go with my heart with my goalkeeper. But I still think he's a brilliant goalkeeper, but I don't think he is the best goalkeeper.
Yeah, that's fine.
So I'm going with Ludo.
Yeah.
Because he was the goalkeeper when I was first into it.
Yeah.
He was a goalkeeper. So he was like my hero in that sense.
Yeah.
And we named our cat Ludo.
I think there's been a few cats named after Ludo. I think in the conversation we've had, with various people.
Really?
Yeah. At least one I can think of. I can't remember who it was, but there was someone who called their cat Ludo. But I love it. I love the fact you did that.
It wasn't a nice cat either. Like it was a dickhead. It really was. It's a shame because I hear Ludo's really nice.
Oh, he's a beautiful man. Yeah. So it's.
But the thing with Ludo, because I think he was a brilliant shot stopper.
Yeah.
Really good. And then I remember one game where, and I can't remember whether he basically, you might know this, he had a one-on-one with Alan Shearer and just took the ball off his feet when Alan Shearer was like in his prime.
In his prime, yeah.
And it was one of those, I was Bobby Moore and Alan Shearer made that run, and there's something about Alan Shearer, the way he ran, but you were just like, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Done.
Yeah.
And he just took it off his feet. It was brilliant. But the trouble with Ludo was, and I hope, again, I don't want to, I don't know if he would listen to this or watch this, but there was a time, we didn't go to games all the time, but whenever we did, there was this time where every time we'd be playing really well, and then there'd be a cross at the last minute, and there'd be a disaster within the cross.
Yeah.
And that happened a lot, but I thought about this, and I've made sure that my two centre halves will deal with that.
I like it.
So that doesn't matter. We're going with
Ludo.
The thing with West Ham goalkeepers I went through the list. We've had so many top class keepers. You could have any of them, and it wouldn't matter.
Yeah, in our era particularly, and I think with Ludo, I've always been. It was like, I don't know why, but my granddad always used to call him Loopy Ludo. And for some reason, that's always been in my head. So I've always had that. And you're right. It's like, so bless him. God rest his soul. But so Ludo, he's such a lovely man as well. I remember his son was the same age as me, and he used to play at Chigwell's school. So we'd play him at football, and he was quite a tall lad as well. Ludo would be on the sideline. And it was always just such a strange thing seeing Ludo there. It's like, it's like Shaka Hislop. I used to work at Safeways, and Shaka Hislop would come in for his Friday big shop if they were playing at home. And when we interviewed him, I told him that. I was like, I used to remember you because your head was so tall, you'd literally see you above all the stands, all the food stands. He's so tall. Old Shaka was. Really? We've had some great goalkeepers.
I'd forgotten about Bernard Lamar.
Oh,
I mean, he was a quality goalkeeper.
Paris Saint-Germain, French international. That's
Yeah,
some great
really.
goalkeepers. I mean, it's an area which you've always done reasonably well in. You know, we had, and the one time we didn't have a good goalkeeper in modern history was basically when Roberto was in goal. Really, in all honesty, and Pellegrini lost his job because of it. To be fair, but yeah, Robert Green, Xhaka, David James, all good goalkeepers. Adrian at his time was a good goalkeeper, I thought.
And I think the goalkeepers now are both.
Brilliant, yeah.
I think they could both be our best goalkeepers.
They could, yeah.
I think the thing with Fabianski is I trust him.
Yes.
Like I don't ever feel like he's going to make a mistake, which you know, other goalkeepers you're never quite sure. But when a cross comes in or anything really, I just feel like he's not going to let it in unless it's a quality goal.
I know what you mean. It's almost like you see the cross coming in, and you're turning straight away to look where he's going to distribute it, rather than if he's going to catch it or not. You just sort of know that. And I think Areola's going to come in, and you know, he could be our first choice goalkeeper for the next several years now. So
I think he's brilliant.
I think he's great. Yeah, he's got. But what I like about him, where Fabianski I find a bit, as you said, consistent. He's very safe. Areola's got that little bit of flamboyance. Do you know what I mean? He's a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, and I like that in a goalkeeper. I like that in a goalkeeper. Yeah. Right, Ludo's in. And let's go left back.
I mean, this is a boring answer because it's just you know who it's going to be. So it's Julian Dix, obviously. I'm going for an intimidating. I'm going to intimidate the wingers. That's what I like it. That's how I'm playing. I'm playing it. I have you. Do you ever just? Sometimes I just go and watch his penalties on YouTube.
Yeah,
it's crazy. No one takes penalties like that.
No one thumps it anymore, do they?
Could he just hit it particularly hard?
No, I just don't think anyone does it anymore now. I mean, and before Julian, we had Tonka as well, who did the same thing, and it just seemed like no one seems to thump it. The only people I've seen who thump it was when we played, like when we did in the Euros. Like all the people who took the penalties for England were all like centre halves. Like I think Harry Kane, Harry Maguire took one, and various others, and they thumped it. When we played City in the Cup this season, we had the penalty shootout, and like Craig Dawson took a penalty and just thumped it in the corner, and it must be a defensive thing, really. I don't know, but they do.
But they didn't thump it as hard.
No, not like no.
It's just like it looked like it would break the net.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do when you're that goalkeeper and you know that it's taking a penalty? What would you do? I just don't know.
There's nothing you can do.
If it comes at you, it's going through you.
Yeah. There's nothing you can do. It's like it's just one of those things where it's almost like, you know, we had that with Mark Noble as well. But as soon as you got a penalty, it's pretty much a goal. And same with Julian when he took a penalty. I mean, Julian always has a very special place in my heart because he's the first goal I saw scored at West Ham was Julian in 1990.
Is that Julian with hair?
No. Was it Julian? Okay. Oh, yeah, it might have been actually. Yeah, it might have been with hair. 92-93 season. Yeah, 92-93, and he scored one of his shots. You know, like a thunderbolt. Yeah. I think he scored 2 that day because I told him that. When when we interviewed him, I said, Oxford United. He went, yeah, I scored 2 that day, Russ. I know you scored 2 that day, but you scored the first goal I saw scored by a West Ham player. Yeah, and he's one of those funny people who, as soon as he's off the pitch, just so different than when he's on the pitch.
Right.
It's like a really lovely guy, and on the pitch he's just. Oh.
I once saw him play. So I'm from Kent, between sort of Ashford and Folkestone.
Yeah.
And I once saw him play against Folkestone in a friendly. And Folkestone's like really low level team. But I think he was coming back from an injury. I feel like that was why he was playing. I feel like he was getting some. I think he was warming his legs up, as you'd say.
Yeah, warming his legs. Yeah.
And it was really good to see him from so close. And he just battered them, just absolutely battered them. These poor blokes who had to go and be a plumber the next day.
But say they've been in a match with Julian Dix. He was one of those guys who could just like orchestrate a game from left back. You know, and the crowd as well. If he fancied it today, he'll go into someone, the crowd will be up on their knees, and it's.
How do you reckon he'd get on now with VAR?
Oh, not at all. Yeah, not at all. Although they're saying that he's just become technical director at. I think it's a team in America. I don't. It's the MLS. I think it's one below the MLS. And he's going to be moving over there. Him and his wife and his little baby. They're moving over to America. Yeah. So literally, I think it was over the weekend. It was Lisa announced it on her Twitter, because Julie hasn't got Twitter or anything. It's all.
Oh, really?
And So fair play to them. But I don't think he'd be able to cope well with it in a VAR world. I don't think a lot of players we liked in our era would have been able to.
No, and like even definitely not the era before.
Oh, no.
I mean, the era before, it was all about kicking people.
Yeah.
But because you think of like those, because the team I've created that I'll tell you later is the hardest team.
I like it.
And all that, we've had a lot of players that like kicking people. So I don't know. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it?
It is.
They would have adapted, I suppose, but he wouldn't have been able to get that. Like you say, he just knew if the crowds were a bit dead, he just had to have a nice sort of cheeky challenge, and he knows he could pick them up again.
But he was a fantastically gifted footballer as well.
Mm.
He was a phenomenally gifted footballer. A wand of a left foot. I always remember when we played.
When we were thinking he should have a call up. It was that. I can't remember what season that would have been. It would have
been sort of the early sort of mid-90s, coming into Euro 96, I think it was, and we asked him about that because John Gorman, the assistant manager at the time, basically bumped into him in Portugal on holiday. He said, if you don't shave your head, you're going to get into the England squad. And then Julian just went, oh, fuck that, and then just
really,
I do what I want. He told a great story of when he was at Liverpool and Tottenham came in for him and he told him to fuck off. So fun, honestly, it's brilliant. It's a lovely man. Funny enough, I was interviewing him at the time. He'd just been sacked by West Brom. Him and Bilic got sacked, and he was tidying up his flat in Birmingham. So it's like such a weird, had boxes everywhere, and he was having a drink, and it was just really strange injury, but a lovely man. Yeah. He was in my 11. Julian loved him.
Have you gone through all of the 11?
We've done. Yeah, we're up to. I need to go through. I haven't updated it for a while, but I mean, there's two schools of thought. There's guys I think in our era, and then there's guys who may be slightly older. They'd go with Frank Lampard senior. We tend to go with Julian, and then probably the sort of people who didn't see Julian will probably go with Cresswell. Probably he's probably in terms of the last 10, 15 years maybe, or Stuart Pearce maybe, but he was more of a centre back. But Julian's sort of by and far one of the most picked people, and also
he's very West Ham, isn't he? That's the thing. He's like Noble is, I think, in that sense.
Yeah, there's a certain genre, a certain type of player. They sort of you could reel them off, isn't it? They sort of West Ham and Ludo to some. Ludo was around for years.
Yeah.
He was always in goal for West Ham, and I love Jules. Right, let's go right back then.
Right back, we're going intimidation again, and we're going Repka.
I was going to say Repka.
You could see that coming, could you?
Yeah.
Again, I don't think he'd cope well with VAR, but
no.
Worst, I think. But definitely right back, because if he was centre half, he's too much of a risk for penalties and whatnot. But we're intimidating the wingers with.
I like it. Yeah, and that's good because it's like the modern day winger is quite sort of needs a bit of a
I want them to think twice.
Yeah. Think twice about trying to go around the outside of them. Yeah, I like that. No, it's a good idea, man. I like it. Repka's one of these guys who still intimidates me now.
Really? Yeah.
I still, we're trying to get him on the show, and he's got a podcast as well. It's called Red Card. How ironic, but it's all in Czech, and his English isn't great, so when we try and convince him to come on, even when he responds with a thumbs up or a crossed irons, I still think it's I still get a bit, still scares me. But yeah, lovely man, and obviously he when he's I remember his last game, I think was it Fulham at home was his last game at West Ham, and he was bawling his eyes out. Everyone was chanting Super Thomas Repka. Yeah, very much a hard man. I'm starting to get the theme of this. Quite like it. Right, let's go.
Yeah,
Go
this
on.
isn't the complete theme of the team. I've
Oh,
got
okay.
another team, which is the hardest. This isn't the hardest team.
I love it.
got carried away. I was talking to my brother about it. We just got carried away. But this is the winning team.
Winning team. Okay.
Yeah,
Let's go first. The first centre half then.
So we're going Rio
Yeah.
for the centre half. I just think that I don't think there's any question about that. Because that was we're the era, I guess, that we had that sort of struggling team, and then we had all those new players that were coming through.
Yeah.
And there was real hope, wasn't there? Like at that age as well, it's like we could actually win stuff. Like it's there, and then we sold everyone. But there was that moment. There's such quality players that were coming through then.
It was a real sort of change.
Now, I think we'd keep them.
Yeah.
Which is,
Oh, could you imagine? It was like a changing of the guard, wasn't it? We've interviewed. Yeah. No, it wasn't. No, it would have been before then. Still match to some extent, but yeah, we had Igor on the other day. But we've interviewed a few players who were like during that time. It's like Scott Minto as well, I suppose. He was in a sort of period where there was like flux between sort of the British side really, and then Harry went a bit crazy and bought loads of weird foreigners like Margas and Boogers, and we've been doing loads of series. It's been funny. We've been doing it called Hammers in Hot Water, where we sort of take like the Marco Boogers story and sort of talk about it. But all of those, like during the Redknapp era, Darney, we had all, and then he started to get good foreign players, and as you said, then the youngsters start coming through. It was a real sort of like really cool time to be a West Ham fan. That sort of like late 90s, early 2000s for sure.
There was a lot of buzz about Darney, wasn't there? That was
like,
there was real hope with Darney, and then nothing really happened, did it?
No, I remember seeing, because I remember the programs used to have like a centerfold, so to speak. They used to have a poster in the middle, and I remember I remember it being Darney, and I remember seeing on the corrugated sort of outside the grounds.
The bit where they used to come and sign autographs.
Yeah, but people would literally be sticking. It was like a 13-year-old girl's bedroom, like with these pictures of Darney stuck up with like chewing gum or blue tack or whatever. And I was thinking, this is a bit weird.
It was you, wasn't it?
It was me. I'm lying. Like with 13-year-old, it was my bedroom. I was probably at 13 at the time as well. With my maths, probably was. And there was here, and obviously the ironic thing was you had like him, and then he was up front with Ian Dowie. So you had like the Beauty and the Beast, I think the Sun called them. So
yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah, weird time. But he probably. Do you know what? He went. So when he retired, I think Darney retired at the age of 28 or something like that from Atletico Madrid. And then went completely like no one had heard of him. He just went completely quiet. And then he turned up on the Portuguese version of Dancing, Strictly Come Dancing.
Did he?
He did. Wow. as a host, I believe, as their version of Bruce Forsyth. So there we go. There we go.
Yeah.
That's what I found out. So we put Rio. I mean, Rio is in mine. I love Rio.
That's a good bit of knowledge about Darney there.
Well, it's because he was one of the ones I've done on the video, so I know. You sort of.
You have literally done your research, yeah.
Yeah, so it's not literally like my. I'm not like a master. It's not like my mastermind subject.
Still covered with Darney posters, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah, Darney. I've got a whole folder under here. Yeah, my special subject is Darney, the original Portuguese superstar. But Rio was just immense, wasn't he? Love Rio. Such a great player, and obviously the career he went on to have. Phenomenal. Who's he going to partner in this winning side?
Wow, this is probably a bit controversial.
I like it,
and it's going against the rules I set myself at the beginning, because I was only going to pick anyone that has been playing a while for West Ham. But I just think next to Rio, I think Zuma. I think that as a partnership would be phenomenal. And I'm also thinking about those crosses that are coming in for Ludo. I want Ludo to relax. Do you know what I mean? Because there's no attacking headers. So yes, it's a shame we kicked a cat. But as a player, and also saying when I being in the ground watching.
Yeah.
you just watch him while everything else is happening. He's very, very good. I think.
Do you know?
Relaxed, very relaxed.
Yes.
He's not panicking. I trust what's happening. I feel like the players around him like having him there.
I think he's during the season just gone, obviously with Bonner being injured, he's sort of had Diop and Dawson, and when he plays with one of them, they look twice the player than they are when Dawson and Diop are playing together, for example. And I always liken it to a really good. Again, it's really random, but I don't know if you've ever played squash, but the guys who are really good at squash are guys who just stand in the middle and just don't move.
Yeah.
And that's literally what Zuma does. He doesn't tackle. He rarely makes a tackle, but he's just in the right spot. He anticipates where the ball's going, and he just, as you said, so controlled. And I think hopefully Agaird's injury isn't as bad as, hopefully he'll be back. And I think him and Agaird in the middle will be.
Have they played together much in the friendlies?
I think they played like 25 minutes before Agairdd went injured.
That was it.
But I think they would complement each other really
I saw
well.
a write-up about the Luton game, and they said Zuma had a bit of a nightmare, but I don't know what happened. I didn't. That's all I read.
Yeah, I think the trouble is, I think sometimes he can. I know he sometimes can have like a little bit of a switch off, and I think. I mean, we only had one centre back really.
Yeah, that's
in
it.
the side, and I think we played three at the back as well. I think he's better when he plays in the back two rather than the back three.
Yeah.
And so but I mean, by all accounts, Bonner's looks like he's doing well in training and stuff. So maybe he'll come in if Agaird's injured, and that was a good state. I mean, we beat bloody Liverpool with that centre back pairing last season, so anything's possible. Right, I'm liking this winning side. Let's move into midfield. So we'll do a midfield three if that makes it easier for you. Is that easier?
No, I'm going with my original. Yeah,
okay.
We're going to go for.
Okay, so who are we going to start with?
The trouble is, if I stick with three of the four, it's not going to be balanced. I don't think. With the winning team. So what do you want first?
Let's go left wing then.
We are going Trevor Sinclair.
Oh, good start. Great start.
So my thought is I want my wingers to be able to score goals.
Yeah.
I want them to be a threat. I also want them to be able to ping the ball in. And interestingly, Trevor Sinclair was playing in the worst game I've ever seen West Ham play, but he was playing for QPR.
Fair enough.
And I always remember it because we had the worst possible seats. It was somewhere on the side, and it was when you had the what do you call them?
The bollard things
thing in the way. So I could literally only see half the pitch. It was so weird. There's no point if you can only see half the pitch. But I remember it because he scored that amazing bicycle kick for QPR just not long before. And he did another one and it hit the crossbar. So I always remember that. But that was literally the only exciting thing that happened in that game. It was 0-0. It was a terrible. That's the first time I went to a game and it was bad.
Love it.
So he's a quality player, and who else would? I don't think it's a question. I think
I mean, he was in my team as well. I love Sinks. He's a lovely man. I mean, Rio's in my team. Dix is in my team, and with me. I love. To be honest, he's one of those guys. I mean, there's probably certain players that you have an affiliation to. Being a West Ham fan, you loved, and Sinclair was one of them. I thought I loved him on the pitch, but also he reminded me of my granddad. He used to take me to West Ham. He was. I mean, I don't know how he actually got to the games in one piece because he was pretty much blind, but he drove to the games.
He should have sat in that seat I was in.
Yeah, he would have had a great time. We'd know what's going on. And so he'd always sit there with the program, and basically any player who did anything that was good that was black was Trevor Sinclair. It could have been Shaka, and he was like bloody Sinclair, only decent player they got on the pitch, and yeah, he was a great player. Sinclair was, and I think it's interesting when we interviewed him. Trevor was saying how he was really nervous about going to West Ham because he didn't think he was going to get in the team.
Really?
Yeah,
Who was in that position when he went there?
Well, he sort of played everywhere. He played because I think he made his debut up front. I think scored 2 goals
He was
up
there.
front.
He was there a long time as well, wasn't he?
Oh yeah, he was there for a good few years, and then obviously broke into the England squad. Went to the World Cup in '02. Was it '02? Yeah, I was at uni. Yeah, '02 in Japan, and then I think then he went to Man City after that, didn't he? After that, I think so. But yeah, lovely guy.
Yeah.
We did a player night a few weeks ago. No, a few weeks ago, yeah, and. Yeah, it was like him and Mark Ward. I think Matty Jarvis was there and Stuart Slater, and it was funny because there was this woman like talking really loud at the back, and Mark Ward's on the mic with, he's a little bit temperamental, and Waldy went, "Hey, shut the f up, you at the back, be quiet," and then Trev went, "That's my wife." I'm so sorry, Mrs. Sinclair. Get him another drink. It was so funny, but yeah, he's such a funny guy. But yeah, and that was my era. The Sinclair era, and same as you, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Right, let's go. Who we have on the other wing then?
We've got Bowen on the other wing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Again, I want everyone, all the wingers, to be able to score goals, and I just think. Because if this team will be playing now,
yeah,
I assume, and I just think the way the team plays and the style of football is just perfect. So, and also I've also got another player who they play well together. So that's my
nice.
Thought.
Yeah, I like. Yeah, Bowen is top. He's just really like last season, didn't he? Just really found this vein of form, which carried on, and he's as the song says, he's on fire. He's absolutely on fire. We'll leave it with that. But yeah, no, he's great in it, and I think we like seeing players that come through from the Championship and progress and get into the England squad, and it's great for anyone else in the Championship or in the lower league saying, you can do this. You can, if you get the right move, and it's brilliant. I love it, man.
Yeah, no glass ceiling. You can, if you play well and you can do it.
Yeah, I mean, he was top of the goal. I love the way they call this thing. Was it goal contributions they call now? Which is basically you add your assists and goals together, and he was top of the list or one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, or very much up there. I think it was Salah and Trent Alexander-Arnold, and then I think it was then Bowen. I think. So crazy, absolutely crazy. So hopefully, he continues that and gets on the plane to Qatar. Hopefully, that'd be nice. You need the West Ham players in there to win the World Cup, as we all know. Although we need 3. We've only got 2 at the moment, so maybe Chris.
Why did you 3?
Well, because we won the World Cup with 3 West Ham players didn't we?
Yes, I'm with you. Right? Yeah. Who else?
We need to get we need I mean, Antonio's now in Jamaica. So Ben Johnson, maybe he could make a late call. But he's got about 12 right backs ahead of him, unfortunately.
Yeah.
There's a lot of England have got a lot of right backs in the England setup and in the under 21s as well. So we'll see. Right. Okay. Let's go midfield. First midfielder then.
So Declan Rice is the first midfielder.
Yeah.
I just think he's probably the best player, and will be the best player in that role that we've had.
Yeah, he's mustard. Absolutely mustard, isn't he?
It's that whole thing of just going to games again. You can just really see how he controls everything. And again, it's just trust. I trust that he's not going to lose the ball. Like, I feel relaxed when I watch West Ham play at the moment, whereas I used to constantly be on edge. Whereas,
it's so true.
Yeah, and he's, it says it all, doesn't it? Like, with his England call up and
captain now, officially captain next season.
Yeah, and everyone knows it as well. It's not just West Ham supporters that think he's great. Like, everyone knows everyone wants him.
Yeah. I mean, last season it was like, I mean, we'd hype him internally amongst West Ham fans, and people never really saw it because maybe they didn't watch the games, or they watched, outside of West Ham, they'd watch Match of the Day, and obviously he's not necessarily involved in the goals. He was more about the blocking and setting up the play, and so he might not get the highlight reel. But obviously playing more for England, he said then people started to get it. I was the same with Jack Grealish. I never really get Grealish.
Right.
And I think it's because I don't watch a lot of games with him playing beginning to end. Whereas Rice was that sort of, and I mean, he could walk into any team in the world, I think, and improve him straight away.
Did you know straight away with Rice, like when you watched him?
I saw him because we used to do the kid game, or the kid games, under 23s stuff at London Stadium.
Yeah.
And I used to watch a lot of the under 23s, and I saw him play. And he was a centre half at the time, and he would. You knew he had something about him, but he wasn't necessarily on the ball. But he had that sort of, and I talked to a lot of ex-players about him, because having that sort of leadership, he was basically like a young John Terry. That's the way he held himself in terms of captains, in terms of being like the leader. And he was still a youngster. I mean, he was probably 17, 18, playing under 23, so he's playing people 5 or 6 years older than him.
Before Noble's influence on him.
No, I think Noble always had him under his wing a little bit anyway. I think he was, Noble was very much still very in sort of embedded with the youth team, and he always sort of kept an eye on what was going on around there as well. But he just held himself in this. He just looked like, there's certain players who look like a good footballer. We've got a young lad now, the right back, Harrison Ashby. He holds himself like he's a good footballer. He just walks on the pitch and he looks like he knows what he's doing.
Yeah.
And Rice was the same. Even then, had this sort of strong leadership ability, and he's just brilliant. He just gets better every game. Gets better, and he sort of improves. He's trying to do more, come forward more, and he was trying to do free kicks last season, I think, as well. And he's I think although we do need a penalty taker now, we haven't got a penalty taker.
Not my team, right?
Yeah, not for your team, not for your team. Just in general, Dix is taking it. Yeah.
Who would you have to take the penalties now? Do you think Rice will step up to that?
No, I think it'll be someone like. I suppose you got to think who's going to start. So Lanzini's usually the one who would take him otherwise.
But what about new signings?
Scarmacker. I mean, Scarmacker does. If we get him in, he does take free kicks and stuff. He can take free kicks, so possibly. We'll see. Who's Rice going to?
It is nice having that Noble. Like you said, you just know.
Yeah.
The goal.
Exactly. Although we had that incident this season, didn't we, with Man United? Was it the last minute thing? And that could have been so different. And obviously then that goal Jesse Lingard scored against us may well have meant we'd have been in the Champions League next year. I don't know. Anyway, so who's Rice going to partner in the centre then, Mark?
So he is going to partner Scott Parker.
Scotty Parker, of course.
I really like the idea of those two playing together. I don't think the other team would get the ball. I just think they almost like if you designed two players, they are who you would want.
Yeah,
I think just in that role, because you got the flair on the wings.
Yep.
And these two are just controlling the whole game.
I like that. I like that. Scotty P will get his big bum in the way and do his little Parker pirouette. And he's great. He was great. And again, he's somebody who's sort of like, and what I like about sort of that midfield particularly is they're all going to have a go. They're all going to try.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's not a hard thing to win West Ham fans over. You just got to have a go and try. That's it. If you're not good enough, it's not your fault. You get picked. But those four, Parker, I remember you used to see Parkers in the players' car parks rather. Literally, you're like crawling almost.
You're in the changing rooms, are you?
Not in the changing. That was a Freudian slip, wasn't it? Yes, Your Honour.
Get you some places.
Yes, Your Honour. Yes. That pass gets you anyway. But yeah, he would literally be crawling. He'd put so much effort into the game. He carried a team for 3 years almost.
Yeah, exactly. That he was the best player for all the time he was there, I think.
Oh, brilliant! Loved him. And obviously he'll be back at London Stadium this year at Bournemouth,
Oh yeah.
unless he gets sacked before then. But hopefully he won't. They haven't bought anyone. They need to buy. They've got Ryan Fredericks. They haven't got no one else. So they need to get some players in if they want a chance this season. Right, let's go up front. First striker, first forward.
Okay. So also honourable mentions for the midfield.
Nice. Yeah.
John Moncur.
Oh,
I feel like with John Moncur, I was not old enough to appreciate him as much. Like I wouldn't really. I don't really remember how he played. I just know he was important.
Yeah.
And also, we just always used to like the fact that even towards the end, when he was just coming on for the last sort of 10 minutes, a bit of like Knight did last year, he'd just come on and get a booking straight away. That always used to be quite fun, a bit like a sort of a drinking game. As soon as he got, a yellow card. And Steve Lomas as well. I'd happily have Steve Lomas in either of those positions.
yeah, definitely. And both good honourable mentions. That's for sure.
So strikers. So the boring answer, but obviously Di Canio.
Got to be.
He has to be one of your most common, surely.
Yeah, it's Julian and Di Canio, because they sort of like transcend sort of age groups, really, in terms of the older fans, of what that sort of Redknapp era meant to them as well. So yeah, but he was special player. It was just a one-off.
Yeah, and I feel like you need a player in this winning team where if everyone's having a bad day, he could just make something happen.
Yeah,
out of nowhere. I feel like you need that kind of player in there, and
definitely.
I think with that midfield behind him, I think. I know.
You know, you don't need to think. Yeah, he would be special.
I know. Yeah. And then with him, it's difficult. This is really difficult because it's like he's not a classic partnership sort of player, is he? Do you know what I mean? Like a striking partnership. Because I'm a huge fan of, and I think they're really underrated, Hartson and Kitson.
Oh yeah.
If it wasn't for injuries, they worked so well together. They would for me they're such a good pairing, like that partnership thing. But I don't know how they do with Di Canio playing alongside. They didn't, did they? They didn't.
No, they would have. I think Kit's may have been around the same time as.
He was around a long time, actually, wasn't he?
He was around for a long time. He may have played with Canio, but Canio sort of played with like Canute and One Chop.
Yeah. So I'm going Cotti.
Oh, nice. TC.
Because he's one strong reason why I support West Ham.
Yeah.
Because of that first game. I think he would thrive in today's game. I think with the little passing game, I feel like that'd be right up his street for the finishing. And it's Cotti.
TC, innit? Yeah.
Cotti.
Just he scored. Yeah, he's your boy, isn't he? He's your boy. If you hadn't scored, you may not have been a West Ham fan, innit?
If we'd lost to Norwich that day, who knows?
Who knows?
But I am a bit concerned about heading because we haven't really got any heading. Because like a Hartson would be good for that.
Yeah.
Or your Teddy or someone like that. I met Teddy Sheringham recently.
Yeah.
I did like an after dinner speaking thing, but it was like a football dinner. And he did it. He was having questions, and then I was going on after, and it overran a lot, and it was a nightmare because I was like this room full of really drunk blokes, and it's getting towards midnight before I was even going to get on stage, and I went on, and it went surprisingly better than I was expecting.
Yeah,
but every so often a joke wouldn't quite land, and then I noticed that Teddy Sheringham was walking and he kept having people come up to him, want photos. So I'd be starting a joke, like a setup, and people listening, and they go, "What's Teddy doing?" And then they come back, and then they miss the important part of the joke. So I was like, "Oh, I can." They don't not like the jokes. They just so I had to sort of mention it.
Yeah.
And Teddy Sheringham was like, "Oh, sorry," like that. And then he sat down right in the middle.
Oh,
and it was the most surreal thing to see, because not only a West Ham player, like that Euro '96 team,
yeah.
huge for me at that age. And the really funny thing happened. Like it could have been really awkward. So I do a thing where I ask for hobbies.
Yeah.
So I ask audience members their hobbies, and I do a joke about their hobby, and then I also ask for random topics. And I did that at the end, and such at Teddy Sheringham, and that's so, I didn't. It's an awkward thing because like I can't take the mick out of Teddy Sheringham.
Yeah.
One, I don't know how I would, and two, everyone loves him there, so you can't do that. But then what do you do? Like there's no answer. So I asked Teddy Sheringham what his hobby was.
Yeah.
So I felt bad because I put the pressure on him suddenly, and he really nailed it because he said shagging, and it got this huge laugh, which was great. But then I was like, I've got to do something now. I can't take the piss out of him for what reason I said. So luckily, I just said, "What's that like?" And that got a good laugh. So I was taking the piss out of myself.
Yeah.
We got through it, but that was such a surreal moment for me, and they didn't know I was a West Ham fan either. Like there,
Yeah.
So,
it's weird. It's weird when that happens. It's like, obviously I've been very fortunate in this doing this YouTube thing, in that we've interviewed over 100 ex-players, and some of them are my idols, and some of them are people that I've heard of and I wasn't around to see play. But it's the same thing. It's like, it's weird when you sort of like, I don't know, you're at the ground or whatever, and like someone taps you on the back, and it's like, I know, Jimmy Walker. Hello, Russ. How you doing? It's a bizarre thing. It's a very strange thing. And I can imagine for you as well, particularly sitting right in your eye line as well. Fucking hell, Ted.
He literally sat there like, well, he didn't fold his arms, but you can imagine he's just like sat back. Go on,
Yeah.
then. Go on, let me laugh. But like, he was a good audience member actually in the end. But like, that's just the worst thing as well. If I was doing my jokes and he was just looking at me, but he didn't laugh.
Yeah,
luckily.
yeah.
But imagine that one of your sort of idols when you're a kid just doesn't think you're funny.
That's a real like kick in the teeth.
Yeah.
Oh dear. Well, there's your winning team.
That's a winning.
That's a winning team, my friend.
That's a goal scoring team.
That's a team that would compete well in the Premier League if the fullbacks calm down a little bit.
Yeah, that's the only. The good thing is that the good thing about this team is when inevitably Dix and Replica get sent off.
Yeah.
The players are strong to be able to drop back.
Yeah.
And
Rice could drop into the back. He could play. Then you play three at the back, and then Sinks can play left wing back or right wing back. He's done both.
Yeah. And Canio can still make some magic.
Always makes some magic with Di Canio on the pitch, innit? Anything.
And Cotti will tap in if he needs to.
Yeah, great shout. Who's on your other 11 before we go?
So the hardest 11.
Yeah.
Yeah. What I wanted to ask you was, out of these, who would you replace? Because these are sort of what I've thought of. So goalkeeper, I'm going Les Seeley.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a harder keeper.
No.
I'll say quick fire. So I'm going Repka, Dix, Ruddock.
Love Ruddock.
I met him as well.
I remember you said him. Yeah.
Oh, did I?
Yeah, because I told you about like when we interviewed him, and then my dishwasher repairman turned up, and I left the stream running while I went to, and then it was like Neil Ruddock on his own with his own thoughts. It was like only me, like Harry Enfield like stuff, and he was like hello, and he thought it was like the start of a porn film. So I was going to go and see the dishwasher man and all that type of thing. But yeah, brilliant man.
We were doing a sportsman's dinner in Scotland. Yeah. We were staying in like a haunted castle.
Ooh.
That's where they put us up. That was entertaining because I'm not saying he was scared, but he was asking a lot of questions about the ghosts. It was a real surreal experience.
Yeah.
So I've got Ruddock, and I've either got Bilic or Stuart Pearce, and I can't make my mind up out of those. I feel like Stuart Pearce is typically a harder man, but Bilic is tough. So
yeah, no, I agree.
I'm going Stuart Pearce.
Nice.
And then I'm going 3 in the middle. Moncur, Nolan, and Bishop. And then we're going. See, I don't know if we've had. Right, so I'm going Dowie because I think he's just. I just have that image of him with the when he was cut open. Hutchinson.
Oh, Deadly Don.
And I'm going Antonio. I don't know, because I don't know how much because he did kick off this season a few times, and I was like, oh, he's got some fire in him.
I always remember that game against Wolves in I don't know if it must have been last season or it might have been the season before at home, where he there was a defender and he literally like brushed him off and he went like 10 feet out. He sort of like knocked him like 10 feet wide. He's like, how did you get away with that? But yeah, no, he does kick off a little bit at the moment. I think he was getting a bit tetchy, wasn't he?
Yeah,
I like that. That's a very, very tough team.
That is. I mean, I don't know how many players would be left on the pitch at the end, but I'd like to see it.
We'd like to see it. One of those sort of simulation things where they can sort of I know what you mean.
Can you imagine lining up against that too? You just be worried about your ankles the entire game.
It just be because considering players now wear stupid shin pads, the small ones now. It's like
yeah. No, you're doubling up on your shin pads.
Oh, definitely, front and back.
So, would you add anyone different to that hard man thing?
Hard man. Let's think. Hard man. I'd put Julian. Yeah, I'd put in. Les Seeley probably. Yeah, definitely. I'd say. Centre arse. Yeah, I think James. I always think James Collins has got a bit of a.
That was on the list.
Yeah, a little bit of about him. Right back, yes. I mean, Repka, you're probably right. Midfield, Monks, definitely. I'd probably put Mad Dog in there. Martin Allen.
Yes.
Just because he was.
Yes, he is. He is.
He is the Mad Dog.
He stopped at the soccer school. I was walking there.
Yeah.
And he stopped when we were walking and did his window down, basically sort of say how you getting on with the thing. But it was like, how you getting on?
He's a scary man. He's a scary man. When we had him on a few times. And Martin's, he'd phone me up before the interview. He goes, Russ, do you want like Martin or do you want the Mad Dog?
Really?
Yeah, and I say Mad Dog, and I'll always regret it. And then he goes, and he'll have some jokes lined up. He goes, right, Russ, ask me about halfway through the thing what I've been doing for myself. And so, yeah, okay, he's got props like around him, and it's brilliant. And then, like for the whole thing, he was like eating a biscuit, and it was a dog biscuit, like one of those big Bono biscuits. Really? He was eating one, yeah. And we've never interviewed him on the pitch since. Sort of about 2006. I'll tell you the reason later about. I'll text you about it while we never speak to him on the pitch because he got pissed. And up front, the only one I'd probably put in maybe instead of Dowie would be Arnautovic. Because he was a nasty bastard.
Yeah. Dowie again was one of those. I think he's quite tough. I don't know. He's particularly a hard man.
We'd run through a brick wall type thing. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. The hard man 11.
Yeah, I was thinking I could just do that for this, but then I was thinking after a while, the only reason is because they're hard.
Because they're hard.
So it might get a little bit boring.
No, it's cool, man. It's a good side, man. It's a good side. It's a winning side. It's a winning side. Right, I'm going to put in a link in description about the tour because you're still touring around and maybe you've still got a few previews left as well, mate, haven't you?
Yeah. End of September, just going around the UK. So
yes, we'll put that in the thing. And if any of our Scottish fans or anyone going to Edinburgh, check out Mark the Fringe. There'll be a link to that in there as well. And it's been a pleasure, my friend. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, I've really enjoyed it. Thanks for having me, mate.
Absolute pleasure, man. And as I said, if anyone else new around here, where have you been? Give it a like, give it a comment, give it a share. Give it a subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out Mark's podcast, Jokes with Mark, if you're into comedians talking about stuff. You might not be, but I find it really interesting. As well as following Mark on all the socials. You're on everything.
Everything, mate.
You're on TikTok. You're on Instagram. You're on YouTube. You're on it all.
Jokes with Mark across the board.
Yeah, exactly. And for myself, and for Mr. Simmons, take care, everyone. Stay safe. Come on, you irons, and we'll see you guys very, very soon. Ta-ta for now, my friends. Ta-ta.